Hey yo guys, I guess back. I'm really just making this video because I just saw Josh or Truthslayer, whatever you want to call him, did an MMA update, and I don't know if you know or not, but me and him talked quite a bit about most of the stuff that he's talked about in his video through Twitter and stuff like that, and me and him have, for past few years have talked about MMA, and we're both old like SEG MMA, UFC days and stuff like that, back when the sport was banned. So he knows what he's talking about, and he's fun to talk to. So I saw this video that he posted, and yeah, I mean, there's tons that's been happening in the world of MMA, and I think for the good. I think it's definitely the sport's taking a real good direction. I felt, obviously, Strikeforce is the little baby to the UFC, and UFC had kind of had a rough year, not at their own fault or anything like that. I think they were just trying to figure out what to do with all the Fox deal and, having the extra shows and stuff and how to handle that. And plus, it didn't help, had a handful of injuries that, really hurt. So 2013, I think, has gotten off to a great start for MMA and the UFC. The Super Bowl show did fantastic. 156 did a fantastic, buy rate, and the card came off pretty well. I didn't see the end of the year show with JDS and Velasquez, but I mean, that show came off well, and I think the right guy's championed. And I hate to say I told a lot of you so that Kane is for real. But yeah, I mean, most of the stuff he talked in this video I kind of want to talk about. I guess tonight is obviously one of the most pivotal shows that the UFC's ever going to run. It's their very first women's fight. And, just reading the things that, Dave Meltzer's posted about this show, basically, doing better than what JDS Kane won the first Fox show did. It's sold it out, and the way Dave put it basically is so true. It's like putting Bobby Volker in the main event, and they're selling out with the way Liz Carmouche is. I mean, the primetime shows have done a fantastic job getting this fight over. The Countdown show, which was I think one of the best ones they've done, did a fantastic job getting this fight over. Spending half an hour just focusing on that fight alone, which is what I felt you needed to do, because, we know who Uriah Faber is, we know who Dan Henderson is, we know who Lyoto Machida is, they're fighting on the card. It's cool, but, we need to know more about the women and their stories, and, what this means for them and to their division and stuff like that. So, and it's a new division, too, and, this is going to be the first time many people tonight see women fight in the world of mixed martial arts, so I think it's a big step. I'm really excited for the show. I think the main card is one of the better looking main cards they have. Obviously Rousey, Carmouche, I think are going to bring it. As Ronda Rousey and Liz Carmouche in any fight, they always usually do. Henderson, Machida, I think should be fun. I think Menjivar, Faber could be fight of the night, but as well the fight I think could steal the fight of the night. It's the Josh Neer fight against Court McGee. I think that fight could be fight of the night. Court McGee at a new weight class, and Josh Neer always brings it in. Josh Neer coming back to the UFC has been a revitalized guy. And speaking of, I guess, coming back, the UFC, they did a bunch of cuts this past week. They cut 16 guys, the John Fitch being the big one. And, I was listening to the Dana White thing at the media scrum he had for, I think, on Thursday or Friday, when they had their last press conference. So yeah, Thursday. And basically, the way he summed it up is pretty true. I mean, look, they've just, brought in a bunch of guys from Strikeforce. They got to bring in a few women. Plus, they have a brand new flyweight division. Their roster is a little bloated. And John Fitch has a massively lucrative contract. He's not had the best winning record. He's only beaten Eric Silva recently, I mean, a big victory, but still not that a good guy to beat. But the loss to Hendricks before that hurt, and getting totally dominated by Damian Maia is something that you can't have happen. And it does suck some of the guys, but Fitch, he bounced back. Obviously, he's already signed with the World Series of Fighting, the mixed martial arts organization that's on NBC Fight Network and the Fight Network here in Canada. So I mean, I'll probably have to re-up on the Fight Network once again just to see those type shows. So I mean, that card for the World Series of Fighting is looking to be pretty good, as they got, you know, a bunch of ex-UFC guys probably going to be on it. I don't know who Fitch will fight or anything. I mean, he just signed today, but it's pretty interesting. You know, some of the guys getting cut, though, it does suck. And I feel, like Dana said, I feel bad for some of them finding out through Twitter instead of a professional phone call from Joe Silva or even Dana or anything like that. That's one of those things that, you know, it sucks, but I mean, that's the world we live in. And, you know, some information on Twitter is going to get out faster than, you know, just picking up a phone and calling someone. So, yeah, a bunch of those guys, I think, some of them will bounce back. Some of them I don't think we may see again. I think it'll be a while before, you know, you see like a Santiago or any of those types of guys. But, yeah, I mean, the roster's bloated. They have to make room for, you know, new up-and-comers. And it's just getting too full, and they have to do it. And plus, you know, I think now with the mentality of, you know, you have to win to keep your job, it's gonna be a benefit more so for us, because now guys are gonna go out there more, put it on the line, instead of, you know, just take a guy down and hold him there. So yeah, I mean, UFC, they're going on a stretch of shows that I'm super excited for. Obviously tonight, Rousey Carmouche. The Japan show, I kind of disappointed it's on Fuel this year, but I mean, what can you do? And I think it's kind of smart in their way to take most of the international shows and just put them on Fuel. It saves, you know, us some money and in the weird time zones or anything like that. And it's not like Fox or FX are going to ever get anything like that. But yeah, the Japan show, the Mark Hunt, Stefan Struve fight, I think could be fantastic. I think Brian Stan, Wanderlei Silva should be good. Plus a bunch of the Japanese guys. I know Fireball Kid Gomi's on it. So, and there's a bunch of others. So, I mean, that's going to be a good show. Then they go to Montreal, you know, Diaz, St. Pierre, the fight I think I've been waiting for more than anything in the world. Sucks I won't get to go to it or anything like that. I'm pretty sure tickets have sold out already. But, I mean, that's going to be a fantastic show. And it's kind of, in a way, their own mini-tournament for who fights St. Pierre or Nick Diaz next. As now it's, what, Jake Ellenberger and Nate Marquardt. And then Carlos... I forget. No, isn't it? It's Carlos Condit, Johnny Hendricks, and then the Diaz-St. Pierre fight. So there's that. And then they go to Sweden. And Gustafsson takes on the debuting Gegard Mousasi. And, you know, I'm of a Swedish heritage, so, I mean, I'm excited for that show. They've sold that show out already, so Gustafsson's a huge star in that country, which is fantastic to hear, you know, because that's a market I didn't know how it was going to be over there. I mean, I knew the Swedes were pretty big into MMA when I went over there a couple years ago, but I didn't know it was that big. So it's good to see, and you know, Dana says if Gustafsson beats Musashi, he gets a title shot next. So I mean, that division 205, it's going to become real jam packed because you know what happens with Henderson and Machida tonight, and Gustafsson, and then Son and Jones. I mean, that's jam packed. But yeah, I mean, you're on a good stretch of shows coming up, so I'm really excited for the UFC in the future, and I think right now really a lot of interesting things coming out of the UFC as well. With their opponents here, and opponents, I guess, quote-unquote, in Bellator. And I think Bellator, they've been doing a I have enjoyed the Bellator on Spike. I waited really all of 2012 for Bellator to get on there. The MTV2 deal, I didn't think it was a good little, prepper for fans if you wanted to get to know Bellator before they got to Spike. But here in Canada, it was in the worst time slot because you couldn't even watch the show live on Fridays. Well, you could if you wanted to watch it on a stream on the Score, because SmackDown has priority on Friday nights on the TV portion, which I totally understand. But, I mean, if you wanted to watch Bellator, it was kind of a rough way, and you had to wait till Saturdays. And I'm not a guy for watching much sports knowing if I know the results or anything like that, unless there's a super amazing KO or super amazing fight or something. I'm going to go out of my way and see a replay. But they've done a fantastic job promoting the Bellator being on Spike. I think they've done a real good job. I think Sean Wheelock, Jimmy Smith are a great team together for commentary. They've been doing it for past couple of years. What else can I say about Bellator? I mean, I think they've done a good job explaining the tournament. They do nice little update features of where their next shows are going to be. Their promo packages for fights, as Josh talked about in there. I mean, both me and him are huge guys on technical and production values. Me coming from a TV background, I'm there. And I think they do a great job other than, they kill UFC in doing that. Because UFC will be like, here's a guy, here's a mini, not even a backstory. It's just like, he's won 10 of his last 5 fights. and he'll come out there, and then you're just like, well, hopefully he does okay, I guess. But then they put a nice little story behind it, and certain guys, what they've had to battle through, or anything like that. Some of them, I guess for me, I follow Bellator. Well, I know of like the Brian Baker leukemia. I know of that, but I mean, most you wouldn't. So I think they do a great job and stuff like that. With like the Emmanuel Newton one they did, I didn't know that both his parents died by the time he was like 16 or anything like that, or that whatever the style of music he liked has kind of helped save his life. So I mean, that's pretty cool. And of course, they had, speaking of Emmanuel Newton, he spinning back fist KOs King Mo, which I don't know. Like, the big debate of this tournament style is it a win or a lose for Bellator? And I think here it actually comes off as a win, because now you can build a star in Emmanuel Newton after him beating King Mo. But then again, if he loses in the final, which I think could happen to Mikhail Zayats, then what's the benefit? Because then he has to go through the tournament again or anything like that. So there's that. But I'm enjoying Bellator, and I'm looking forward to the future. I mean, it seems things are going well. I think they got a good set of certain champions. It looks like they got Eddie Alvarez back, which I think for them is huge, as Eddie Alvarez is the best marketable star that they really have in terms of, I guess, now public interest after the UFC was totally interested in him. And yeah, I mean, really, I guess the last thing I can talk about is what Josh talked about is TUF, and I've been blown away by the Ultimate Fighter. They cut the silly, you wanna get free music or anything like that to start the show. They gave it a facelift, and sometimes giving things facelifts, they don't really work out. But this one, how they shoot it, the Hollywood cinema style with, I think, the red style cameras. The compelling interview style, I like that. I mean, on the night it's on, it being on a Tuesday instead of a Thursday or a Friday night, it makes it feel like a real reality show. Like, you could sit people that like, your Survivors or your Apprentices or anything like that down and be like, hey, this is a strong reality show, and they would enjoy it. Sure, there's fighting at the end of it, but I think they could look past that, because I think they do a good job explaining stories. And I thought the element they added of bringing families to watch the guys try to fight to get in the house was genius. So the only thing that sucks for the UFC Ultimate Fighter on FX is it won't be on FX. It'll be on Fox Sports Channel, I guess, the next season, which hurts, I guess, the name brand for the show. But they've done a fantastic job, and like I said, I'm really excited for what's happened in MMA. If you need more videos of me, I mean, obviously you can ask. I can try to make them. But, I mean, if you need to know the latest of what I talk about in MMA, tomorrow night, we'll break down the 157 show with the podcast I do with my main man, Double G. I'll put the link in the description box. But, yeah, I mean, this video's gone on now 13 minutes. Try not to bore you to death. But, yeah, I mean, MMA's been definitely a really enjoyable point in time. It's filling a good void since there's no football. And hey, I gotta wait till April for the Blue Jays to take over. So other than that, not too much to say. Anyways, that's it for me. I'm out. Peace.